What's up, gamers? Emphasis on the game. Welcome to Articulate, the podcast where I'm anything but. And also, the podcast that I definitely remember that I have and like to do. So I forgot that when it gets hot, I do in fact have to wear shorts so I don't perish. So now I have to cover my legs now. That's what this is, if you were wondering. All this stuff right here. It's a big old blanket, which is kind of unfortunate, especially if it starts getting like actually really hot. Then I have to wear this cardigan and a blanket and gloves to do my stupid little weekly podcast. Anyway, yeah, the white knuckle video is currently uploading. I'm guessing that's up already. Hey yo, last week I did the same thing, I think. When was the last video I uploaded? Hang on. Epic Tangent Moments. June 5th? When was that even? It's the 19th? So, no. I did upload a podcast last week, right? Right? Am I crazy? Hang on. Yeah, 5 days ago. Sick nasty, bro. That's gonna be annoying to edit. And it is currently Thursday, I think. It's Thursday like morning. It's 5:12 a.m., which is insane, dude. Yeah, I have been doing absolutely incredibly. I've been consistently taking care of myself. Like this is the longest streak of actually caring about my health that I've ever had. Maybe not of caring about it, like actually doing the work and taking care of myself. Epic high score moments, you know? High score new streak unlocked. I don't think that's the proper words. And we have been doing lots of stretches, been low-key working out, dude. Like kind of a little bit breaking a sweat every single day. Well, I think I missed like yesterday or the day before that or something, but it's the weekend, dude. I can do whatever I want, you know? So yeah, in honor of that, I'm gonna draw a little yoga creature. No reference, no planning, no nothing at all. Which I have never done before. I've drawn stuff like from memory. Wait, yeah, I haven't on the podcast drawn stuff without any reference or anything. So today we're gonna do that. Yo, my pencil, I don't know what I was last working on. Never mind, I do know. I was gonna say my pencil is super sharp and really worn down, kind of strangely, but it makes sense. I'm just staring at my computer like there's supposed to be reference or something there, where I'm like, what am I supposed to say next? I'm supposed to ramble. I wrote stuff down to say for the intro and for introducing what I'm going to be doing, which is drawing a yoga creature. So I feel like I need to be drawing more, because that was something I really enjoyed about the concept of this podcast was that I could really just do whatever I wanted, you know? I could draw and be cool. Hope this works properly. Yeah, I didn't write any topics to talk about while I was drawing. I forgot that was like when the podcast takes place is when I'm drawing. The rest of everything else is just sort of an intro. So what should I even talk about? White knuckle is really fun. My posture is pretty bad. I could talk about that. Having bad posture, pretty easy thing to do. But honestly, with the amount of stretches and stuff I've been doing, it doesn't even really matter that much, because it doesn't even hurt anymore. You need to discover what this guy's head looks like. I think it's just a big old blob, you know? What does this look like? That's the exact shape of something. I wanted him to be leaning a lot more than this. Unfortunately, that's not really what's going on. Maybe I can... No, I can't fix this. Unless... Hang on. Once I do this, I'm fixing it, then I erase all of this nonsense, and then probably erase this up here. I need to not talk about the drawing, I just remembered. It's been so long since I drew something that I'm like, oh, hang on. There's a way to do this that isn't annoying. You know what I mean? This needs to be like wavy, like properly wavy, not just like weird wavy. I was maybe gonna say that I could not edit this one because I should stop editing these, because eventually I'm gonna not have time to edit a whole like hour or something if I'm just yapping. Because low-key, maybe potentially, hopefully soon, I will obtain a fun little phone number, and then I can make accounts for stuff and do things that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Why does he low-key have 5 or 4 fingers? I'm supposed to have 3, you know? Oh, it kind of looks like Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. I could talk about that. They did in fact make a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie, which I don't know why anyone would want to try to do something like that, because animation you can really perfect and make good, and a big part of why that movie is good is because it's animated and the characters are like cartoony and cool and lovable or whatever, and it's significantly harder to do that in live action. Even if you're not telling a story about, okay, hang on, let me enunciate that for a second. Even if you're not telling a story about a dragon and a silly little guy, because in The Last of Us show, it was really good, like really, really good, but the game is still better because, well, first of all, because Troy Baker's an absolute freaking maniac. Like, what the hell? How can one single person be so talented at voice acting and making me cry? So yeah, the show was really good. It was really cool. Quite faithful to the game, probably one of the best adaptations of anything in general. I was going to say video game, but also, I don't know, just anything. Because anytime someone tries to adapt something, they make it horrible. But yeah, and also, I played the game Last of Us Part 2, and when I was playing it, I was like, there's no way. There is simply no way they can turn this into a show. I don't think it works as anything other than a video game. Like, the fact that it is a video game and that you're the one doing all the things that you're doing, that game, like, interacts with the player in such a certain way that no other games really do. And so it doesn't make sense if it's a show, because you're not the player. You don't have as much influence. You're just sort of watching stuff happen, which also doesn't work because people are simpletons and they didn't like the story of the second game. I don't know why. I was gonna say I just saw a comment on some Instagram thing that was like that it was good, the ending, it's just that the ending was bad. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, the Abby fight, is that bad? Then I remembered that technically isn't how it ends. It like keeps going, and then you come back to that house, and then Dina isn't there, and then you're like, oh dang, and then it just sort of ends. And I know a lot of people, they like low-key get triggered when something has an open-ended ending, which is really stupid. I love me a good open-ended thing, because it's like, oh no, what happened? Did this thing happen? Did this thing happen? It's really cool. It leaves a lot up to interpretation. It's sort of, I don't know, something. And I think it makes sense within that story to do it open-ended like that. I don't actually know if this commenter was mad about that part of the ending or if it was something else. Maybe they were just mad that Abby wasn't shredded anymore, which isn't in the show, which I thought was quite interesting because it's like almost a plot point sometimes in the game. Because in the game, when you go back to Jackson or whatever, and you and Dina are in that house, and then Tommy visits you because he's miraculously still alive, and then he's like, I heard this guy, he was like this lady traveling with this kid, this bald kid, who was built like an ox. They literally said that in the game. And then a different time, it's like the easiest way to identify her. And like several people say that to Ellie, and she's like, oh, that's definitely Abby, because no one else is built like that, dude. Like, damn, what a creative decision, bro, to have Abby be built like that. Except also, it is based on a person, so that's interesting, I guess. But they probably had to like cast for that, right? So it probably was a creative decision to have Abby be built like that. I think I finished my yoga creature. It was really simple. Like, this is not, it's a doodle, if anything. I don't know. But let's see how far I am in the recording. 15 minutes? Bro, what the heck and frick? Maybe I'll show it, maybe not. Is this... No, I forgot to turn off Dark Reader so that Google Docs can be the only other light source that I have, you know? Because that's the way I decided to do things. What the hell was I even talking about? The Last of Us 2, unfortunately? I say unfortunately because people really, really don't like it. And I sincerely do not understand why people don't like it. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Granted, I haven't like watched anything, or I don't actually know the argument as to why it would be bad. I just know that a lot of people were mad because Joel died. They were like, oh no, I keep doing that. I've done that in like several videos where I'm like, people were mad that Joel died. They were like, you know, they were crying about that. So a lot of people were also like, ew, trans. This game sucks. It's horrible. The woke mob or whatever, which makes no sense because the first Last of Us in 2013 was gay as hell, dude. Not gay as hell, but Ellie was gay. So like, what the heck, dude? There can be LGBTQ plus people in video games. Like, if you fully randomized a human to get your characters, if you just made this little randomizer thing, it like just picked a random skin color or ethnicity or whatever, and like background and gender and sex and sexual orientation, I guess. If you just completely randomize all these different things, you would get this incredibly diverse cast of characters for what have you. And so like, I don't understand why it's such a big deal that a character is trans. Like, what the heck and frick, bro? And I liked how, it was like adorable the way everyone was like so accepting of that, except for the bad guys, because they're evil. But there's this conversation you have as Abby with Lev, the trans character, because Lev brings it up. They're like, did you notice what they were calling me? I think they were calling him like Lily or something real girly like that. And low-key, I thought Lev was a girl the whole time until they started calling him a boy. And I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense, I guess. Because it was just a very androgynous looking character, and the voice was a little bit low. And also Lev is like a kid. So, you know how many kids are you're like, is that a boy? Is that a girl? Who knows? It could be either or. And so I thought it was a girl at first. And then they were like, Lev's a boy. And then I was like, okay, understandable. And then that happens where Lev is like, did you hear what they were calling me? Are you gonna be mad about it? Are you gonna, I think Lev said, are you gonna ask me about it? And then Abby is like, do you want me to ask you about him? And then Lev says something, I don't know. But it's just very like clear that Abby doesn't really care. And Abby's like, you can be whatever. And then Abby Loki becomes his mom. I don't know about mom, but like legal guardian, you know? They can make a Last of Us Part 3. Honestly, it's like kind of like Abby. Is that a horrible thing to say? I know a lot of people are like, Abby sucks because she killed Joel and she's a horrible person. But if you actually paid attention, and if you don't like the game, you obviously didn't, you simpleton. But Abby like doesn't even know who she is. Because the fact that she would go, I think I already talked about this on something, but the fact that she would go against her beliefs in order to kill Joel, like she literally, as soon as you start playing as Abby, she says that phrase that all the wolves say as like a farewell thing, a way to say goodbye, like good luck, may the force be with you. They say, may your survival be long and your death be swift. And the second I heard that, I was like, yo, Abby, what is wrong with you, dude? You're evil. That's literally the exact opposite thing that she did for Joel. She was like, this is not going to be quick. Trying to get his leg. I want this to hurt or whatever. And so that sucks. I think Last of Us Part 2 is a very logical step in the franchise or whatever. Because what else would you even do? Because the whole crux of the first game was like, oh dang. Or at the end, I guess. I don't know if this is a crux of the game. It just gets revealed at the end. It's like, oh, Ellie's gonna die. And Joel goes against the greater good, objectively. I get, when you're playing the game, you're Joel and you're Ellie and you're like, these are the good guys. These people are awesome. Haha, funny. I'm attached to these characters. But objectively speaking, Joel went against the greater good of making a cure for the thing to save Ellie, and that's like beautiful or whatever, and that's awesome. But there's obviously going to be consequences to that he chose this one girl that he didn't even know not that long before over the world. So it's pretty crazy. Obviously there's going to be people who didn't like that. And Joel was old, dude. He wasn't going to live forever. Like, damn. It was kind of fucked up though. It was like really fucked up. But then later in the game you play as Abby, and then it's from the other perspective. You're not Ellie laying on the ground screaming at Abby with like this big old light behind her. She's like backlit. It's really cool looking. It's really menacing. But when you play as Abby and then that cutscene happens, it's from the other side, and Abby like swings the thing, kills Joel, and then she's sort of like standing there looking at him thinking, and maybe this is just headcanon, I'm like giving her the benefit of the doubt, but it really seemed like she was like thinking, and you could kind of see on her face that she was like, she didn't get out of that what she was looking for, you know? I don't think I can do this whole rant and explain why The Last of Us Part 2 is good. Play the game. A lot of people who don't like it didn't even play it all the way through because they're stupid. So play through the whole thing if you didn't like it. If you didn't like it and you just listen to me talk about all those stupid things that I just said, stupid to you, because you're also stupid. But you definitely clicked off the video by now if you don't like The Last of Us Part 2. I didn't think this episode would be about Last of Us Part 2. I thought it was going to be like, I've been stretching. It's been very fun. I'm cured. I don't have depression anymore. Because that happens every single time. I would like to be good. I don't know. I like brush my teeth. I take care of myself. My dumbass takes one shower and I'm like, I'm cured. I don't have depression anymore. I'm turning a new leaf. But honestly, I didn't even say that this time because I was like, there's no point because I might just be depressed again next week. So I didn't even say I'm turning a new leaf. I just did it. So there's your inspiration, people who like The Last of Us Part 2 and didn't click off the video. Do your stretches, drink some water. You know, there's me doing that thing that I said that one time from my most popular episode. I just gave it a slightly YouTuber title. Why don't people talk about this? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And that gives it 90 views. Like, what the hell? Nearly 10 times the views I get on every other video, which is 3. I get 3 views every other video. This is way too long. This has been articulate with me every single juncture. Leave a comment, I suppose.